Oh, crypto pirates. Well, 2 times is a charm. Welcome to your Discourse Syndicates, Chatting with the Captain. I am the Captain, your Captain RG3, here with a very, very special guest tonight. Whenever we have the financial gurus on the show, the Captain gets a lot of anxiety because, as you guys know, my history, I'm a guy that's been in the financial system for many, many years, and it has had its way with me. And I just speak my mind about it and what it's done to affect me and my family. And a lot of these guys don't have the finger on my pulse of what's going on. But in doing research for this show, of course, I always go and watch what my guests are doing and saying. And I sat down and I started listening to this man's streams, and I couldn't stop. He was like on point. He was speaking my language, and he wasn't spouting off all the same old bull crap that we hear out there. So I really like this. I'm really excited about it. So without getting any further into it, thank you everybody for coming in and joining us in the chat. Appreciate all of you. All you Hexicans are the best. I'm going to have a lot of fun with this. So let's bring him up now. My new guest, Gregory Mannarino.
Great to be here. Thank you. Love your intro. You're absolutely fantastic. And I'm really excited to be here. Honestly, I really am.
We're excited to have you, Greg. And you said it was okay to call you Greg, so I'm gonna call you Greg.
Yes.
I've got to give. I want to give you a little bit of information about me before I start asking about you, because we're just gonna get into it so that I want you to put this in perspective for some normal folk. So I'm 55 years old. I'm not a young guy. I'm recently retired, and it's because of the crypto space. But I worked for 30 years plus. I was a Marine first. Then I worked for 30 years as a millwright. I don't know if you know what that is, but I work with my hands. I built machinery all my life, moved heavy equipment, built machines that weighed millions of pounds. I worked 14, 16-hour days, 6-7 days a week for 30 years so that my wife could stay home and raise our kids. I live in Southern California. You know how that is. So I always had to have a side gig, a job on the side, or a business, something to make ends meet so that I can keep her home. So I worked my tail off. I was raised by the greatest generation, my grandparents, and I watched what they had and what they had, had on the table for retirement and all that stuff. And then I went to work with those morals and values and hey, I'm gonna go do this thing, raise a family, retire like granddad did, all that kind of stuff. And I just watched it all slip through my hands as time went on. I worked harder and harder. I worked longer and longer. I watched the productivity of the world's productivity skyrocket while I was out there working. And I watched our wages go down. I watched inflation go up. I watched retirements go away. And all the while I hear all these gurus out there saying to do this and do that. And every time they said to do something, we got screwed. I owned a home in 2008 when the crash happened, and, had one job and lost that job and almost lost my house and lost all our cars and all that kind of stuff, and I stayed away from the loans and all those things. So I really dislike hearing people talk about the doom and gloom and how bad it is and what's coming and all that kind of stuff. I want to talk about solutions. What do we do to fix this stuff? How do I help the guys that were out there in the trenches with me working for the last 30 years who don't do what I do, who don't dig into this stuff and try and figure it all out and say, hey, where are we going to go? How are we going to get, to where we're trying to how are we going to get that retirement? How are we going to get out of this mess that we're in? Just us regular folks. Or we got to leave it up to these bankers and all of these financial gurus? What can we do? And what's the problems out there? So with that, I'm going to throw it to you, Greg, and say, hey, man, speak to me, man, and tell me, from your heart, what's going on out there, and what can we as regular people do? And then we'll get into some crypto.
We need a revolution. I've been telling people this for the longest time. We need a revolution. Honestly, there's no other way to really fix this issue unless people get blind, stinking, pissed off. And when people have finally had enough, maybe they're going to freaking wake up. Until that point, look, they're just going to become slaves to the system. The system itself is designed to do everything that you just outlined, everything you just said. That's the nature of the current system that we are in.
Yes.
And we got to change it. I mean, look, if you've been following my work, you've heard me tell people we need to revolt. We need a revolution here. Unfortunately, the freaking public out here has been so dumbed down and made dependent on the system that they've been fist fed that frankly their lives are unraveling around them by design. None of this is by accident. This is the way it's supposed to go because of their freaking system. All right, look, I'm getting pissed off. You know how I am. All right, this stuff gets under my skin. I feel my blood pressure boiling, but it's the truth. I can't control myself sometimes, but what I'm trying to do is explain the situation to people, tell people what I'm seeing here, what right or wrong, what I see. People can choose to agree with me or not. That's fine. I don't know everything, but I try to lay out what I believe is going on because I study it around the clock to the point of nauseum. I say, okay, most things are cause and effect. Cause and effect. I studied medicine and I practiced for 20 freaking years, and it's cause and effect there too. It's the same damn thing. So, just breaking down what's happening here, knowing who our enemies are, knowing who those are who want to control us, the system itself, it's so toxic. And again, what you said was perfect. It's destroying the people. We're in right now, I believe, in the early stages of something much, much worse that's coming down the pipe. But what do we do here? Again, we got to get together with like-minded people. Shows like this are super important so people can understand, hey, you know what? There's other people out here who think like I do. I'm not all alone. Believe it or not, there are some times, and I have a pretty big channel, a pretty big following, but sometimes I feel like I'm all alone too. And then I read the comments. I'm like, you know what? I'm not alone. There are people out here who get it. There are some people who get it, but we're a fraction, man. We are a fraction of the people. We got to get stuff like this out there. Yeah. People need to talk about it.
But Greg, getting it is one thing. But getting upset about it is another. I know that's what's going to get off of our asses finally is, getting so fired up and so pissed off at the system that we finally get up and do it. But see, here's my problem. I was a Marine, and I know for damn sure that no matter how many guns we have and no matter how badass many good people we have out here that are mad, we're not going to take it on that way. We're not going to take it on through legislation either, because they've fixed that system against us also with Citizens United and all this other crap that they've pulled. So I don't want to just get all worked up anymore because I'm pissed off too. I put my hard ass work all my life into this, into my life. And I got lucky. I went out and found something that got me out of the situation. And that was, through crypto. However, I have a heart for all of my buddies that I worked with in the trenches. Like I said, how do I help them to do something? How do we as
gotta be able to see it? You see, look, here's how it happens. This is what I have come to learn to know over the years is friends of mine and people I've tried to speak to, it's just once a light bulb goes off and they go, bam, I got it now. It's, people have been so distracted and so they're lied to from the get-go. From the moment people are born, they're told a story that just ain't true. All right, the way the world works, the things that they have to do, and all of a sudden they get hit with a reality slap, and all of a sudden, and then they get angry. But they get angry at you. They don't. It's because they can't handle it. But when people realize, honestly, and look what just happened with this banking system crisis that we're in right now, yet again here. Now, people are some people are getting angry about it. Look, see, people only get mad if it hits them in the pocketbook. Nothing else matters to them anymore. They go on with their lives. They pay their car loans, their mortgages, whatever it might be. And they kind of get stuck in that. They feel kind of happy and content until they lose everything. And then at that point, they start to realize, hey, you know what? I got to do something about it. That's really how I started out here. The meltdown of '08 and stuff, I lost pretty much everything I had at the time. I watched friends of mine get evaporated, and I got angry. So I started coming out here and started talking about these things. And just out of, I said, I got to do something. And I found that, hold on a minute, there is a lot of people out here who are in the same boat. So you got to get together with these kind of people here. Unfortunately, we will never be able to wake everyone up. People just look. There are some people that function at a higher level than others. There are some people that can see a little further down the road than others. People who can think outside the box. Most people, they've been so indoctrinated into that in the box thinking that they're just done. So you move on. You move on to someone else. Like some of my very closest friends, it took them years to finally go, wow, Greg, everything you said is happening. I can see it now. And then they get the epiphany. And then they switch over. But it took a lot of time. Unfortunately, that's the way it's going to go. And some people are going to get it, and some people are not going to get it. And you're right. We ain't legislating our way out of this. This is why I'm saying, sometimes you gotta, I could get in trouble for a lot of things I really want to say out here. But
I know, I feel the same way.
you gotta realize that, it's a war. Okay. You were in the Marines. I was a Navy man. It's a war. And sometimes, wars can't be simply negotiated. Sometimes you got to you got to bleed a little bit. I don't know another way to put this so we won't get thrown off of YouTube or everywhere else. But, but it's really the truth here, unfortunately. People just think everything is going to be fine. They live in la la land. They have no idea what they're doing, why they're doing it. Most people, honestly, look, they can't even walk and chew gum at the same time. You know how I am. I tell people as straight and as hard as it is. Some people can't handle my style, and that's okay. But I'm out here and I say what I say, and that's it. But anyway, look, people got to understand that there are alternatives out here. There are solutions out here. There are some, okay? We're going to look out for ourselves, look out for our families, look out for our friends, try to get together with like-minded people, as I said, then look for alternative places to at least protect our wealth moving forward. As you know, I am an advocate of cryptocurrencies. I own some cryptocurrencies as well. Owned a lot more, okay? Had to take a step back. Most people know that. Even with the market too. I mean, this stuff here at one point got to me so bad, I just got out of the whole damn thing for a moment. I'm in it every day, twice a day. I do these videos, and once in a while, I had like a little bit of a breakdown, I guess you would say. I kind of lost it, and then that's okay. People are allowed to do that because
when you're passionate. When you're passionate about it and you put your heart into it, that's what happens. You get so involved that you just you end up wrecking yourself to a point where you just kind of.
And sometimes you got to wreck yourself. Good way of putting it, to recreate yourself. Sometimes you just reach that breaking point and you just got to regroup. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having like a little bit of a breakdown and then regrouping to grow, to move forward. And I think this happens to anyone that's in this kind of a business or tries to do what we're doing here, getting out here, trying to enlighten people as to what's going on. It's so sick and perverted and twisted that how can it not get to you? How could it not get to people? I think people that follow our work, they're angry. They've had just about enough. I read through the comments. I try to read through all of the comments I get. Even if I don't respond, I try to look through them. Where are these people's heads at? And I see it. I see where they're at. These people have really, really freaking had enough. And, they're seeking alternatives. They know what to do, at least from a financial standpoint. At least I think I keep people in the know, what's going on, what things appear to be, how they're unfolding, and where they should be looking down the line here. We understand that we got to break out of their system. It's pretty simple, isn't it? Okay. Their system is designed, it's rigged 100% against you, me and everybody else who's listening to this thing. Okay. So we got to find an alternative way around their system. There's a solution for you. Okay. Now they don't want that. They want us in their system. Okay. And unfortunately, by far, people are in their system. They're slaves to their system, the one that they've given us that we're so lucky to have. Oh, yes. I mean, come on. But we got to sidestep it. I think, that's really what we need to look for moving forward is trying to, it's just a very tough road when you have the most powerful organization in the world. And I'm talking about the Federal Reserve, with their boot literally on the throats of all of us. And they're pushing harder and harder and harder. Right now, what are they doing? They're deliberately killing the economy here, raising race into an economy that's in a free fall around the freaking world. People are suffering. The middle class is being systematically wiped out. I've been telling people this for 10 freaking years. Now they finally see it. It's crazy.
Yeah, we're destroyed. And one of my favorite sayings is, and I try and tell, the crypto space is full of a lot of young people, and I love their energy, and I love tapping into it, and I love learning from them. But I always tell them this: there is nothing new under the sun. All of these games, these shell games, these 3-card Montes that these guys are playing have been played for eons and eternities when it comes to money and financial systems.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done the same things over and over again until they collapse. Now, the power that they have today, however, is a lot more concentrated than it ever has been. Even when the Roman Empire controlled most of the world, they didn't have as big a grip as today's financial system has on the global economic, system. What mistakes in the past that you've seen that human beings have done, or what resets have you seen, or what should this one look like? I'm looking for solutions.
People are, again, they're willingly surrendering their liberty. They're surrendering their freedom because most people, unfortunately, they don't want to compete. They want to be taken care of from the cradle to the grave. This is it's a mentality. It's a very strange thing. Everyone gets a trophy. It's very odd, but it's a slow burn. And this process here has really taken such a grip on people. People, even if they knew what to do, would they even take action? I don't know. I think for the most part, in my communication with people outside of YouTube and people that are like-minded like you and I, you can't get through to them. They don't get it. They don't see it for the most part. And that's the problem because it's the indoctrination that starts from the get-go, from the moment they're born into this system. I mean, and just as an example here, a child that's born today in the United States, the moment they take their first breath, they're a debtor. They're a debtor to the system. It's unbelievable. The moment they're born, they didn't say a word, but they own a part of the national debt. Could you freaking believe that? What kind of twisted system is that? But the real solution here is we need to get out of this debt-based system. When I talk to people every day who have no idea at all, friends of mine, when I try to explain to them that we have a debt-based system, they go, what do you mean we have a debt-based system? I mean, the system.
That's what we export. That's what we sell to the world is debt.
That's the United States' greatest export to the world is inflation. That's the truth, which is obviously a form of debt too, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, with regard to that, when I try to explain to people that the cash that they have in their pockets isn't theirs, it's owned by an issuing central bank. They issue debt to the world. We owe it back to whatever central bank is issuing it, plus interest that they created in thin air. Who came up with that kind of a situation? And that kind of a system, it demands that debt must relentlessly and constantly be added into the system. It can't stop. So this is why we don't have a budget and why we have to find reasons and create reasons magically out of thin air to keep funding, because that's the way it works here. You heard about all these banks that were not allowed. Could you imagine? You probably know about this. Just came out today. So they had this meeting today, the Federal Reserve, behind closed doors. Now they're going to be issuing loans out to banks that are apparently insolvent okay? Or
Yeah, I saw this.
yeah, but we can't know who the banks are. We can't know. In other words, there's going to be loans, but when as of right now, from what I understand, the names of the institutions, so people don't go panicking, is being withheld. Does that sound like a free society to you? Does it sound like a society where the people make the decisions, or is it some other kind of twisted fascist? I don't know what you want to call it. It yet to be defined. I mean, that really got me angry when I found out, when I heard that, okay, the Federal Reserve is going to be issuing loans to a whole bunch of institutions, regional banks that are not doing so well. All of a sudden, just a miracle, the regulators missed this whole thing, but they're going to be issuing loans. We can't know who the banks are. Imagine my shock. So sick. But this is what they do. This is how they got everybody. It's out of control.
It is. It is. Let me jump real quick. We got some super chats coming in. Can we pull up some of the super chats so that we can read them? I want to thank everybody for supporting the show and throwing. Bran, this guy is one of our OGs. Going to be great. Have heard Greg's content analysis for many years. Thanks for having him on. Thank you, Bran, for support. We got another one in there. Nikki B 999. Thank you, Nikki B. Love each other and be charitable. Hexkins, love your work. Greg, much love. Oh, you're getting the love, man. Look at that. Feel Nick Blue, another $99. Thanks. I'm a Hexican and a Mannarino. Lion, you got the lions and lionesses in here. Thank you for all your great content, gentlemen. Captain and Greg are both legends. Thank you for the comment. Appreciate it. And the super chats. You know what? When you look at the situation that we're all in today with this debtors nation, with this global debt society, and I always saw it and I understood it, but now I'm seeing the slowing. I'm seeing the gears grinding up. I'm seeing that it's stopping. I'm seeing that the pump is not being primed anymore. That the loans aren't going out. That the system that they've created is starting to fail on its own. It's not like they did something wrong. It was developed wrong, and now they've come to the end of it. Like, people aren't borrowing the money anymore. Interest rates are going up. Inflation's going through the roof. They've come to the end of their line. What's next when this thing starts to really gum up?
Well, we can look at that from a lot of perspectives, but let's take this in right now. So what we have, and I've been warning about this since before this bank meltdown here.
Would you say this started in 2000? Well, I know it started way before, but would you say 2008 was kind of when it started actually showing signs of?
When we had the last big meltdown here, what was that really all about? The 2008 market crash. It was about a market that was trying to find fair value. That's what always happens here. The markets, the valuations, everything just doesn't make sense anymore. All the fundamentals that are supposed to matter, it just goes out the window, and people go. And they're driven into this for a lot of reasons. A lot of it is government and easy money, obviously, is what brought us to that kind of a situation here. And it inflates asset bubbles. And today, there's nothing like it. We've never seen anything like what we have now. The fact of the matter is we, even though the stock market has taken a hit as of late, we are so far away from anything that resembles a normal. We're at we could easily see Dow 6,000, Dow 4,000 come up. There's no doubt about it. We're talking about this. Nothing makes sense here. But the fact of the matter is, look, this is a slave system. That's how it's designed. The economy of the world is being deliberately driven into the ground because they're going to issue in a new system. This system, as you said, it's dying. It's dying. It's a dying system. So understanding that the system is dying by design, they're trying to create dependency on the current system. And then again, look, it's always the same story: problem, reaction, solution. There's a problem, they allow it to manifest itself. They wait for the reaction, and then when the people say, "Help me," oh, we have a solution for it. They have it already. So that's it's about. And right now, what we're witnessing is a consolidation of power. Again, just like the few have controlled the many since forever here, because of a lot of things here. It's a manipulation, it's a fear tactic. They dumb down the public, whatever it might be. It's unfortunate turn of events the way this always goes, but it's a repetitive cycle here. And what we're going to see here with this issue with the banks right now, that the regulators all just happened to miss, which of course they didn't. They didn't miss a damn
They
thing.
knew it was going on.
Of course they knew, just like the last meltdown.
They're not dumb. Everybody thinks, oh, they got their heads up their ass. No, they knew what was going on, and this was all planned.
Oh, absolutely. It's all planned. So what they're going to do now, I have no doubt that we're going to see a lot of more bank failures or an absorption of the smaller banks into the mega banks.
The consolidation.
Consolidation. And what you said before was totally true here. The banks, it's very simple to understand what's happening here with regard to the banks. And everyone's like, what's going on? No deposits, no loans, and no deals. And this is what's going on. Yep. And even the mega banks are in the same situation. So that what are they going to do? Now they're going to acquire the assets of these smaller banks for next to nothing. It's going to be a fire sale. The assets of SVB Bank are going on auction, and they're going to, and they're all going to talk. All the mega banks, okay, we're not going to pay that much.
They've already got it figured out who's getting what.
It's all they're doing is consolidating power. This is what it's all about, control, unfortunately. And it's the central banks of the world, in my view, who control everything, even the flow of information. They are the ones. I mean, they have secret meetings behind closed doors we're not allowed to know about. They're going to be giving loans out to banks that we can't even know who they are. I mean, this doesn't sound like the United States of America anymore, does it?
No, it hasn't sounded like the United States of America for a long, long time. And I mean, so you say, as you and I both agree that the system is dying. We're seeing like in its death throes by design. And okay, what do you see? So I'm trying to like kind of focus in on what the new system's going to look like that they're trying to put in place. Maybe you can talk about CBDCs, and maybe this can kind of segue us into crypto and see what your thoughts are.
100%. Well, that's what they want to do. I mean, it's as obvious to me as obvious can possibly be. First of all, in order to really have full control, they have to be able to know about every single transaction down to the thousandth of a cent. Okay, so this is why they're going to go to. We already have a mostly digital system here. I don't even carry cash anymore. I'll be honest with you. Of course, yeah. So it's unfortunate, but it's how it is these days. But that's what they're going to. They're going to implement a completely digital system. Me and Gerald talked about this from years ago. Gerald Salente, who you had on your show, he believes it's going that way too. I also believe we're in the early stages of World War III. I think that's already started as well. It's going to spread. Again, what are they going to do? They're going to use the war as a scapegoat. Okay, this is why you're seeing inflation. This is why you're seeing the world economy fall. It's their fault, Anything to switch blame off of the central banks who are responsible for the economy, for the markets, and the whole entire financial system. It's these institutions here that are responsible. But again, they must remain blameless. But where this is going to go is pretty simple. Look. How I see it, and I've never wavered from this ever since day one. It's very simple. What have central banks have done is keep rates suppressed now since the last meltdown. Keeping rates suppressed creates an environment of risk. Risk meaning cash moves into equities or into the stock market. It has also inflated a pretty incredible real estate bubble. It's also created distortions across the entire spectrum of assets. All of them. Nothing has a real price discovery mechanism. What people don't know, and they're not allowed to know, is it's the debt market that sets the value for everything else.
Yes.
The debt market is the core. Everything else derives value from what's happening in the debt market. So everything else could kind of be considered a derivative, or it derives value from what's going on here in the debt market. So now that we've had rate suppression since the last meltdown here, and all this stuff has gotten totally out of hand. No price discovery behind a single asset anymore. It's very hard to say that any asset has a price discovery of anything at this point. So when this unwinds, and it's going to, because we're starting to see all this instability in the debt market. Why are we seeing that? The debt market is, first of all, it's insolvent. It's massively unstable. The whole system is insolvent.
Yes.
Because it must relentlessly acquire more debt just to function. The debt can't ever stay stable. It has to exponentially increase. Period. You see, this is another big secret people aren't supposed to know. Oh, you mean we have to borrow more money tomorrow just to maintain the same lifestyle that we did yesterday? Yeah. And then the next day more than that. The next day more than that. That's how the debt-based economic model works. So with knowing these things, it makes our life simple. What we got here is we're going to see an implosion in the debt market, which is the biggest bubble in the history of the world. We've never seen anything like it. That will implode. We're going to see rates spike in an uncontrolled fashion. We're already starting to see some of this here. The Fed's been raising rates, yes. Okay, they're trying to keep it relatively controlled. How does a central bank say, hey, we're going to keep rates at X? They can't just say it. They're not magic. They have to get into the market and make it happen. So eventually they're going to allow this to unwind here. Right now, the side effect of all this money, easy money and money printing and asset purchases is massive inflation. And they're trying to sell the lie that, hey, we're going to raise rates and it's going to control inflation. The first day I heard that, I came out on my blog and I told everyone it wasn't going to work. I said, it's not going to work on no way on this earth or off this earth is going to work. It's just meant to slow the economy, kill demand, crush the consumer. That's all it's meant to do. It's not actually meant to directly lower inflation. If they wanted to directly lower inflation, what would they do? They could contract the money supply, because that's what it's really the problem is. It's a money supply
problem. They expanded it, and I think, like you said, they're trying to suppress so that they can control, so that they can go, okay, we're going to fix this for you, and here's how we're going to fix it, and you will like what we're going to give you.
Not one mainstream media outlet has ever once discussed how they could contract the money supply. All the Federal Reserve has to do is raise the capital reserve requirements of the major financial institutions above zero, where it is right now. And we could contract the money supply and we could slow inflation in reality. But you don't hear anything. People aren't supposed to know that either. It's an insane thing. So anyway, debt market implosion, rates spike. That puts pressure on the stock market and cash. Again, I try to tell people this, but they don't get it. Cash doesn't grow little cash wings and fly away. It just moves.
Still there. It
moves through the markets. It's gonna bleed out of the debt market, bleed out of the stock market, and in my opinion, it's gonna go with commodities and cryptocurrencies. I've been telling people this for the longest time, and we have the potential to see cryptos take a moonshot when this really gets going here. And there's a lot of rigging that's going on. Wall Street has their ugly hands on a lot of this stuff here. They got the cash. They can get into the market, unfortunately. But a lot of this stuff has a finite amount. Some of it doesn't. But a lot of these things they're only issuing a certain amount of it. So this is the kind of stuff that I think people need to hold. Stuff that is in limited quantities if they're looking at cryptos. And people say, hey, Greg, which one? You know what? I'll tell you the truth. I don't really have an all-time favorite. I think for the most part, we're going to see cryptos. All of them, I think, could potentially gain as cash is looking for somewhere to go. But I think some of the tried and true ones are going to do very, very well. I would not be surprised at all. I mean, you heard there's people out there, some people with some pretty big names who are putting some pretty lofty targets on, let's say, just like Bitcoin, for example. Like ARK Capital, what's her name? That woman, she has I think a $1 million price on Bitcoin. That's what she said. I don't know what she really means it, but that's what she said. I have friends of mine who believe that it's going at least to 100 grand in short order. But I'm just throwing it out there. But that's how I see it playing out. It just should make sense to people. Bleeding out from the debt market. Pressure on the stock market, cash will just move. It always does. It just moves. It moves from one reality into another reality. So how we protect ourselves is, gold and silver, as I always tell everyone. I think silver is the most undervalued asset in the world at this point, physical asset. And as you also know, I'm a crypto advocate, and I think people I get beat up about it all the time, but that's okay. I don't care. I don't care what people say. I don't care what they want to think, and they're allowed to. Look, if some guy or some girl says, Greg, I don't want to touch that stuff, that's fine. Fine. There are some people that don't want to hold gold or silver either. They're allowed. Whatever they want to do, whatever they feel is right for them. I will not push on anybody. They do what they want, like I do, and life goes on.
See, what I knew, Greg, was that what you said, I saw it coming. And I'm not a financial guru, but I saw it coming just by looking. It's failing. The system's failing. So, and crypto came to me and I blew it off at first. I was like, whatever, man. That's
Everybody
just
did. I did too.
PayPal
Don't feel
crap,
bad, but
whatever.
we're allowed to do that too because you didn't understand it. I was in the same
Yeah.
boat. When I first heard about this stuff, I was like, hold on a minute. You know what? Nah, I'm not even going to pay it any attention. But then when I started saying, hold on a minute, you're trying to tell me that we could find a way to circumvent their system?
Yes,
Oh,
that's it.
I'm all for it. This is what I think the crypto haters don't get. That here we have
They
an
don't.
opportunity to maybe go around their system using some other
Mhm.
mode of transaction. They don't get it either.
But
I
here's
also
the
think there's a
here's the
bias.
problem, Greg, is
Yeah.
that they're right to feel that way because 99% of the crypto is garbage. It literally is garbage out there. They've been the PT Barnums have taken over this space too. The day traders, the leverage traders, the margin traders, all of the crap that was in the bad system has come into this one. And when I read the Satoshi white paper for the first time, and I saw that vision of wait a minute, I can do a peer-to-peer transaction outside of the banking system securely, and it's the same digits. It's just not a Wells and a B of A handling the situation. It's the global users. It's the human beings that want to use this system that are in charge of it. I said,
It
that's something
sounds great, doesn't it?
I can get behind it. It's just like you. But then I spent from 2014 to 2017 when it ran up to 20K trying to find how that was going to really work. And all of these cryptos were garbage. And I got sucked into the trading game. I got sucked into the, hey, quick buck, you can get rich quick, boom, 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 boom. And what always happened was those guys won. They wrecked everybody. And the leverage traders and the trading platforms and the exchanges and all that are the ones who won. And the normal guy didn't have what Satoshi had envisioned. And I said, when somebody finally gets their head out of their ass and does this the right way, then we've got something. And that's when I found Hex. And that's when I found Richard Hart. And I found people that were actually saying, we're going to do this immutably. We're going to do this outside of this whole crypto system and everything. It's going to be contracts only. Code is going to be the law, not human beings. And that's what's happened in crypto is that human beings have gotten their hands on it with this SBF crap and all this other shit. It's the same thing. Human beings get involved and they screw it up. But if you can find immutable code like we have, and real DeFi, which is the next iteration of this whole thing, when the next bull market comes, and it's coming right now, it's going to be about true DeFi. Who has the purest DeFi protocol that can get us out of this failing system and into a system outside of that box, outside of the real system or the failing supposed real system, and we get a control of our own money. That's what we're excited about over here on this side because we've actually found that. And I can't wait to, I don't think that we'll do it on the show here or whatever, unless you ask questions, but Hex has done that. It's true DeFi. It's been running for 3 years. And guess what? They're gatekeeping it. The exchanges won't talk about it. The coin ranking systems won't talk about it. They've been laughing at us and memeing us and suppressing us for 3 years.
Isn't that typical of what they always do? That's what they got to do. They got to, when you find something that's good, they got to propagandize it. They got to try to make everything, then you got, a lot of these people, I think a lot of it is honestly, there's a society out here who tries to, they're probably paid to go out there and try to discredit people, discredit institutions, discredit whatever you might be talking about, or they don't want it. They don't want the competition. So we have to be very careful. I mean, I'm certain that my own blog is infiltrated with a lot of bots and stuff, and I try to get rid of these things. You got to really be careful here. And there's a lot of scammers out there, unfortunately. And that bothers me. On my blog, it's like it's inundated with people pretending to be me, and it's just, and I try to. I have my moderators, but. But you're totally right. You're on target with everything you're saying. We can find a system like this that works. That's beautiful. And we'll see what they do. I'm talking about the ultimate powers that be here with regard to how they're going to play their card. Because they believe me, you see what people don't understand about the central banking system and why I hate it so much is we're living in the side effect of what they have already planned from like decades ago, maybe even longer than that. And then, you know, it's not a reality what we're in. We're living in the past, and they already have everything set up. It's a crime. It's a crime against humanity. I think that central banks are the enemy, public enemy number one. I've been telling people this for the longest time, and unfortunately, they got us all in such a bad spot right now.
Yeah.
It's a terrible thing to see unfold. And, you know, and I look back on my older videos and I go, wow, you know, this is stuff that I spoke about. And people write to me, oh my God, Greg, this is, you know, this is happening, what you said. And people are starting to wake up talking about how we can. People got to see it for themselves. And I'm all about that. And I think people are in for a rude awakening, man. I think it's going to get a lot worse, a lot faster now. So just I want people to be ready, be prepared. Mentally, physically, spiritually, have a stash of food, have a way to defend yourself, get together with like-minded people, because we're going to need each other as this thing gets worse. That's our great. We are each other's greatest assets, and if we can understand that we're not each other's enemies, we need each other. And every Friday I leave people off with, you know, love each other, care about each other, be charitable. You've probably seen it, and I mean this from the heart, because I think when it all comes down to, we need people to rely on. Okay, we're going to need each other, and that what they're doing everything they can now to make sure that doesn't happen. They want everyone separated by everything they can dream about. It's very sad.
And that's another thing I really like about your message, and I attempt to do that here, and I don't get political. I don't get into that political mucked up mess of people trying to pit people against each other over social issues and all this other garbage that's out there, because our real problem isn't that stuff there. Because like when I sit down with another human being, right, left, middle, whatever, we agree on about 90% of how life should look for every human being. We sit down and we talk from the heart. We agree. There's about 10% of our own little bullshit that we have in our minds that we may disagree on or argue about or whatever. But the system has taken that 10% and like made it 90% of who we all are. And it's
yes, it has. I mean, there's no accident. That's no accident. I think everyone knows it. Everyone who's watching this knows that. I mean, I guarantee you that the people that are watching this right now, they're on the same page. They get it. Yeah. And the people that are going to be watching this for as long as it's out online, which will probably be forever, they're going to say, you know, those two guys, they had it right. They had it right.
Yeah, I think we do. And when it boils down to it, we all just need to get together, like you said, get mad as hell, get out there and start trying to embrace something that is going to circumvent the system that they're trying to impose. Now, I got a question. I'm really curious to hear your opinion on something. And let me throw the super chat up real quick. Feel Nick Blue 99. Thank you. Nailed it. Central banks are enemy number one. Mannarino and the captain dropping us some gems right now. Huge respect to you both. Respect. Thank you. I appreciate you, man, and appreciate the super chat. Now I want to ask Greg about what you think the CBDCs have to do with this new system. Do you think that is going to be the point of control? Do you think that's what they're going to use? Is that what we're looking at right now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've been saying that for the longest time. That's exactly what they're doing. That's why they're bringing the system down. They got to destroy this system here. And they've done a pretty good job of it already. But what worries me is I think we're going to see, unfortunately, a lot more people suffer moving forward here, not just in the United States, but around the world. I think, again, and I think that what they're going to use to what's the word I'm looking for here? To kind of get people to believe that maybe, for what I believe is going to happen is we're going to see a much larger war, like I said earlier, and they're going to point at that war or whatever else they got to point fingers at and say, there's the problem. This is why that system failed. It's not us. This is why this is happening. This is why we're having inflation. This is why the dollar is dying. But look what central banks are doing collectively. I've been telling people for I don't know how many years that they're literally in a race to the bottom, a collective race to the bottom. They're sucking the purchasing power of their currency out. Every day they do this. I mean, look, people don't understand. Like, why is it that
they're trying to break it? They're trying to break it.
They are. And then people just sit there like the boiling frogs. They just, They think, wow, this used to be $1, but now it's $3. They think, how did this go up in value? This did not go up in value. The currency has lost value.
Yeah.
And most people don't get it. They don't understand that. And this mechanism is going to get worse and worse. Look what central banks have been doing. They've been raising rates. The Federal Reserve. Inflation continues to rise. What did they sell us? The transitory lie, the temporary lie, peaking. How many times did they tell us it was peaking? I don't know, 10, at least 10. And then it was sticky. Then they had this new word. It's sticky. That drove me nuts when I heard that one. Oh, inflation it's sticky? Oh, I never heard that one before. But it's the truth.
Feel good words, right?
And it keeps into tomorrow's a big day. Tomorrow we're going to get the CPI number, and let's see let's see what happens with that. And then what else do? They tell us that what we're seeing with our own eyes is not real. Oh, it's prices are going down. They floated out Janet Yellen, whatever it is. They floated her out the same day that we found out that inflation was continuing to rise. She goes, no, prices are coming down. Listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. I'm an authority figure. But that's what they do, man. It's so twisted.
I tipped a guy a $20 bill today. I looked at it and I go, it's probably not even going to buy you a taco, bro, but that's what I got in my pocket for you. And it was like, man,
it's nuts, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. And we've got to get ourselves together. That we can't just let it fail, and we can't let them sell us we're going to give this to you for your own good. And remember the World War II slogans? You and I only read about them, seen them. We obviously didn't live through it, but they got everybody's buy-in in World War II. They everybody was a patriot and went out and did this and did that. And I just feel like that's what you're saying is about to happen. Like, we're going to have this war, and then they're going to ask us all to give. They're going to ask us all to participate and all the support and get behind this thing, that they're going to use to bring down the system. I just see that coming.
A false flag. That's going to happen first. And then, it's going to be a shock. It's like 9/11, just like Pearl Harbor, and then they're gonna all these kinds of things. They're all set up like that. And then once that big shock comes, then they're gonna throw it at you, all of us, when we least expect it, as usual. And then they're going to get everyone to, put on their patriotic hats and oh yeah, we got to do this now. We got to buy these bonds, and we have to, we have to go, sign up, and we have to go fight a war and kill people who we don't even know who they are, who probably didn't do a damn thing anyway. It's what they always do. It's just, it's a crazy situation, but that, it worries me, because if people are going to die. People are going to die probably by the thousands. Again, and it's always what they do. I mean, just look back on history repeatedly, over and over and over and over. It's just not going to stop. It works, their MO, and unfortunately, that's the way it's going to go. And I hate to think about that. I really do, because people are already hurting. I have my neighbors of mine over here. My neighbor, they're losing their jobs. Oh, I lost my job. They don't want to get this, so I lost my job because I don't want to get it. I'm not going to mention it because we get thrown off the air here. Really good friends of mine, people that were in medicine, nurses that I knew that refused, doctors say, I'm not doing this. I know it's not good for me. And they lost their jobs over it. One of my doctor friends came out on my show to expose this. And he was the only guest I ever had. He got fired for giving his medical opinion as to what he thought. I mean, you can't, there's no such thing as free speech. You can't think anymore. If you don't toe the line, like we're not, well, then, we're public enemy number one. I'm surprised I'm still out here, man. I've been out here for a long time. And I tell it like it is, but the people, either they ignore me, they think I'm insane, or whatever it might be. But I'm surprised I'm still out here, because a lot of people I know have gotten kicked off.
Yeah, no, us too. We're surprised too. We're surprised that we're still here, because most everybody in our space has been either removed or sanctioned.
You're just going to be careful about what silenced. You say, the words you use. I think people get it. What we're talking about, and but you got to be careful. And I try to do that. Like, you can't even say certain like SHIT anymore. They'll flag your video. It's crazy.
Well, we've gotten pretty raunchy on this show, but well, not on this one particular. Our other streams that we just kind of cut loose on, but for some reason they've let us continue.
Nice.
Well, Greg, we're getting close to the end here. I'd like you to, talk a little bit about what you've got going on, so I can send people, to you've got any books out or anything else that you've got. I want people to know who you, I know you're not shilling anything, but I want people to know who you are and what you've got out there so that they can, I really want people to see who you are and what your channels are.
Look, I'm Greg Nobody. I'm just a guy here who's speaking his mind. That's all I do. Okay. I come out every day. I try to put a perspective on things, and that's all I do. And if it makes a difference in someone's life, if they say, hey, you know what, that makes sense to me, that's great. If it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay too. Maybe you can go connect with someone else who is more on their wavelength. I get it. You know what I mean? I can be kind of abrupt, but if that's okay, I'm not here, trying to sugarcoat anything. We're out here just look like we're talking like you and me. I feel like I know you and I never met you before, but we're on the same page, and I love that. I love talking to people who get it, who see what's going on. And I think we're getting through to people. I really do. This channel is growing. My channel has been growing here. So we're making a difference. We're making a difference in the world, a positive difference. I only want to be remembered for one thing. Greg is a guy who at least tried to do something, tried to enlighten people as to what's going on. That's it. Everything else is just fluff. But that's really what matters to me. I've always been a very friendly person, a very gregarious guy. I'm the kind of guy who will go up to someone and say, just start up a conversation. I'm not like most people, how they are. They walk through life with blinders on because that's what the media tells them they should do. You have to hate these people because they have this hair color. You have to hate these people because they have that. They believe in whatever pendant they're wearing around their neck. This is nonsense. We're all a big family. I feel like my blog, I tell everyone, this is a worldwide family. And I love that. And we're making a difference because we're getting the word out there and people are starting to wake up. I really think so. That's why I was happy to do this show. We're waking people to freak up. And that's what matters.
Yeah, and we just got to keep doing it and keep gathering more stones with us as we're moving along. I'm going to take my show on the road, and it's called the DeFi Live Show, and I'm going to go out town to town every month. I'm going to go somewhere different state and talk to people about DeFi and what real, true DeFi crypto can do for the monetary system and how it can get you out from the slavery of what's going on. But it's about self-custody. It's about immutability. It's about code is the law, not about giving your money to other people and releasing your, what we call keys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you don't own your stuff, if you're giving it to somebody else to try and get yield and things, then you're making big mistakes. And we're going to try and educate people as to what real DeFi is. Because if this happens, if we can get enough people to move out of the system and into another system, an independent system, then that's how we can win. That's the only way we can win. You're right. We both said it. That's how we win. Greg, thanks for coming on, man. I really appreciate you. I think we've got your links and everything up. Guys, go see Greg Mannarino on his YouTube show. He's got some really good stuff to say. Macroeconomic stuff, no fluff, no BS, political crap. He's talking real deal stuff straight from the heart, and you guys are going to love it. So go watch him. And hopefully we get to talk again, Greg, and we can talk some more about crypto. Maybe I can come on your show.
Yeah, let's definitely do it again. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, my man. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. Appreciate you all. We'll see you on the effing hangout on Friday. Oh, don't forget me and Famous are doing a show on Wednesday. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.
Take it easy.
Thanks, man.